I am. We are. This is Norwood. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to I Am Norwood. Tonight I'm with Norwood Public School Board of Education trustee candidate Jennifer Eisberg. First of all, did I pronounce your last name right? I hate not
That is
pronouncing
correct. You got it.
it. Excellent. Off to a good start here. Fantastic. Well, I'm giving everybody 30 minutes on this, so why don't we jump right into it to maximize your time? First question. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather today. I sound like a mess. My apologies to both you and listeners. Why are you doing this? What motivates you to do this?
So I've been a Norwood resident for 13 years, and as I've lived here, I've gotten more and more involved in the community, and I volunteered for other things, and I'm a school teacher. I'm a K through 8 school teacher in the Northern Valley, and I figure if I'm going to volunteer for one more thing, it might as well be about the kids and about the school. And, that's been my whole life. This is my 19th year teaching. So my whole adult life, I've been doing, been involved in schools. And I want to see Norwood Public School thrive. It's a good school, but there's always room for improvement. And I've seen positive change in the school lately. In the past year, I've seen a lot of positive things, and I want to join in and keep that momentum going.
Excellent. That dovetails nicely into the next question. What are the biggest issues as you see it facing the Norwood Public School at present, or the
Um,
board, suffice to say?
I would say the biggest issues, they're pretty big. It's the school ranking and the test scores.
Okay.
I
Okay.
would love to see them improved, and there's a lot of different ways we can work on that. And I'd like to get involved and help see our test scores go up and our school ranking go up. I mean, I moved to Norwood um, mostly because of the excellent school system, and I want to keep it excellent.
Okay. Just to go back in time for a moment, where did you grow up and attend elementary school and high school?
Oh, I was like a little bit all over. So I started kindergarten in Memorial School in Paramus.
Okay.
And then first through fourth grade, I was in school 12 in Clifton. Then fifth and sixth grade, I went to Oradell Public School. Then I moved on to Riverdale Middle School and I graduated from Riverdale High School. And after that, I went to Rutgers University. I majored in psychology and education. And then I got my master's in school library and information science um, at Rutgers also.
Okay. You weren't kidding. You rocked the Garden State here. Uh, what, if anything, do you take away from your own education as being applicable here today, as opposed to perhaps back then?
Well, I've got to say, like going from a Clifton school system to an Oradell school system, it's like a little bit of a night and day difference between what's offered in different communities. And also in my teaching experience, I've seen that too. I taught in Newark for 9 years before I started teaching in Haworth. So again,
Okay.
night and day differences between those school systems, and Haworth and Norwood and towns in the Northern Valley, we really can provide our kids with so many wonderful opportunities. And I'd like to be involved in helping make those decisions about what opportunities are available and how we utilize our resources in the town.
All right. Name one thing you'd like to see the school or the board put more tax money towards than you think goes towards it right now.
Um, well, anything that benefits the students, that's really what it's all about. So whatever the students need, I think as teachers retire, if we can recruit and maintain quality teachers, keep them in the school district, I think that's really important because the teachers are the ones that are spending the most time with our students. Um, I'd also like to see the school have more extracurriculars offered on different levels, whether it's after school or electives for the middle school. But I think that would be another wonderful thing for the school to spend money on. And also infrastructure. It's not my area of expertise, but we definitely want a nice, safe, beautiful school for our kids to go to, and so we have to maintain the school.
Okay. And on the flip side, what, if anything, to your knowledge, do you want to see the school spend less money on? Than,
Well, I haven't seen it lately, but I remember a particular Board of Ed meeting that I attended virtually where a pretty hefty raise was given to just one person in the school.
okay.
And I spoke out at that meeting against it, and there were many parents that spoke out against it, and it still went through. And then that person ended up retiring soon afterwards. So I just thought that wasn't really money well spent.
Okay. Okay. Um, you'd already kind of touched on this. What would you add as enrichment or after school activities?
Oh, well, I would love, I mean, extracurriculars, like we could even ask the students what they're interested in, but also an after school homework help program, I think would be really great for the kids. Whether we can get parents or teachers to work there at it, or even kids from the high school to come and help. But some kind of after school homework help program, I think would be great. Um, but really, I think, we'd have to kind of do a needs assessment on what the kids need, and then we can decide specifically what programs we'd want to get involved with.
Okay. You just remind me of my least favorite teacher in history. Quick aside, so I don't take away from you, but I had an eighth grade earth science teacher, came in for extra help once. Says to me, all he says to me is, "This should be in your notes." Doesn't answer it any further. Another science teacher hears, comes over to me, no obligation to me whatsoever, gives me like a 10-minute explanation. So, yeah, thank you for nothing, chainsaw, as I used to call him. You smelly piece of work. Anyhow, so
Well, I think we've all had experiences like that with the better quality teachers and the teachers who, weren't that interested. I know Norwood, we have really great teachers. We have really wonderful teachers. But like I said, a lot of them are retiring or moving on to
right,
different
right.
things. And I just want to keep the quality up.
Okay. Getting to a few other different topics here. What, if anything, would you like to see Norwood Public School do differently with regard to special needs children?
Well, I actually saw a big change this year. I believe special needs students, just like general education students, deserve a quality education. I think we need to give them what they need to succeed. Um, and I attended the first CPAG meeting of the year, which was, I believe, like 2 Monday nights ago, and it was really nice to see a lot of people turn up for the meeting. Not just parents. There were Board of Education members, there were administrators, there were teachers, there were members of the child study team there, and I hadn't seen that before. So it was really just nice to see so many people from the school log in, a Monday night at 7 p.m. to get involved and see what's going on. So hopefully we keep, you know, we keep that going with the special needs students. But it's just the most important thing to make sure that they get what they need so they can succeed.
Okay. And if you could change any one NPS policy or Norwood Public School policy, for those of you who don't like shorthand, that you are currently aware of, what would it be, if any?
It's actually a little thing, but I've heard quite a few parents talk about it.
Okay, okay,
Last year, we got an email from the administration saying that there was extra help with the teachers from 3 till 3:30 after school, and I thought that was great, and I utilized it from time to time. Um, and I've heard that this year it's been changed to being for 20 minutes in the morning, and I'm pretty sure every mom and dad will agree with me that getting out of the house with children 20 minutes earlier than you used to get out of the house with them is it's not going to happen, or it's going to be, you're going to be tearing your hair out. So I would love to see that changed back to the afternoon, because I just think for families, whether, you have two working parents or one or whatever the deal is, just getting kids out of the house earlier in the morning is a huge challenge.
right. I certainly can't dispute that either way. And I was going to say something else about chainsaw, but I'll get off of my memory and move on. have you had an opportunity to get familiar or somewhat familiar with NPS's harassment, intimidation, and bullying policy or procedure?
Um, to a certain extent, I mean, as a teacher, I think I'm familiar with the general. I don't know how it would necessarily differ in Norwood than in the school district I work in, but I'm familiar with it. Yes.
What, if anything, are your thoughts on how HIB, I think is the shorthand, cases are handled by either your school or this school, from your knowledge?
Well, it's an interesting thing because I know since COVID, not just I don't even know necessarily in Norwood, but not just in one particular building, but like kind of across the board, there have been a lot more HIV cases,
Mhm.
and it seems to be that with the kids having been separated and 6 feet apart, that when they're now allowed closer back together, they're not necessarily making the best decisions. So there have been a lot more HIV cases lately, and it was surprising how many more. But it's I think it's an effect of the pandemic that the kids kind of have to relearn how to interact with each other, and or at least not all of them, but some of them have to relearn how to interact with each other in a more positive manner. So that's a really important thing, and it's a new challenge that we didn't necessarily have happening as often before the pandemic. So it's just something else to work on.
Okay, okay. Um, I have at least one hypothetical for you here, two, depending on the time. Uh, Potentially based on actual events, but I can't say for sure. Here's the hypothetical. Excuse me. I guess I'm disgusting today,
It's okay.
but
I had a cold last week.
right. So here's what we have. You have perhaps a sixth or seventh grader walks into class playing with a lighter. Right? Teacher sees it, tells him, just put the lighter away. I don't want to see it again. Doesn't confiscate it. Doesn't put it in a June drawer. Doesn't send him to the office. And in a matter of minutes, teacher doing something else with the class turns around, finds another student's hair on fire along with his bag. How do you think this should be handled as a trustee, or if you were to hear about it?
Severely and swiftly. None of that should have happened. I mean, I hope that that is a hypothetical and that hasn't ever happened anywhere. That's crazy. But um, yeah, that teacher obviously made the wrong decision not to confiscate it and tell them to put it away. And I mean, I can't even imagine. That's crazy. But yes, that teacher definitely needs to be evaluated. I know that there are different rules depending on the level of the teacher, if they're tenured or not tenured, but it's completely unacceptable. That can't be allowed in schools.
Okay, okay. Let me excuse me. Let me give you one other one. Student. Well, this one comes from a slightly older student, but we'll make it younger here. Gets picked on for various traits about her, suffice to say, continuously by same group of students for many months. And parent goes to the school after unfortunate incident occurs involving pills and whatnot, and student, and asks for an HIB investigation. They simply tell him that there's some computer way to do this. Don't follow up. He follows back again a few weeks later. And they basically tell him, because he doesn't personally know the names of the students, that they can't investigate any further, even though they have surveillance and even though they know full well who was involved with everything all year. What, what would you say as a board member if you got a notice of claim essentially saying no satisfactory HIB investigation? This person attempted to take their life in the interim. You can't even investigate it because you claim you can't figure out who the people are.
There's got to be a way to investigate it. I find that an unacceptable excuse that you can't investigate that. Um, the child knows what was going on. If hopefully the child has some friends or someone that they talk to about it. I mean, you'd have to do some digging. It wouldn't necessarily be easy, but like you said, there's surveillance. There are ways to find things out. So no, you can't just dismiss it because it's easier to dismiss it. You have to, dig in and find out what was going on and do everything to protect that child and protect other children who could be targeted next. Um, no, like that's just you can't dismiss that. That's very, very serious, and it's something that the school should put at priority number one when they find out something like that's going on. They need to do something about it immediately.
Okay. There we go. Hold on one second. Uh, I don't know if whoever's editing this is going to want to take that out or not, but anyway, people have heard me cough before. All right. Let's start to lighten the tempo a little bit here, perhaps. Following those last two somewhat grim fact sets. All right. Excuse me. Pretend I am a parent who attends a school board meeting with regularity, every school board meeting, and virulently argues in favor of bringing back the use of dunce caps on wayward children. What, if anything, would be your objection to this suggestion as a trustee?
Well, everyone's entitled to give their opinion, but that doesn't mean that we are going to take the suggestion. So no, definitely no dunce caps. But the beauty of being on a board of education is that um, it's a group decision. The board of education is a team. You could put it to a vote. I would be
True.
shocked if anyone would vote in favor of that. But even if one person is in favor of it, if you don't have four votes, it's not going through. And with a suggestion like that, it's not going to get four votes.
Okay. um, you survived that one well. Here's a more general Norwood question for you. Would you be in favor of renaming the neighborhood north of Rockland Avenue into Pan Road, the Upper West Side of Norwood?
I would not be in favor of renaming that town. I don't think that the school board gets to make decisions like that.
Well,
That would be more of a council thing. So
good
that's
answer.
that's not my area. But no, I mean, if the council, if they put it out to the town for everyone to vote, I would say no, let's not do that.
No, the former Darkhold Court should not be the Upper West Side.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, okay. All right. Few other randoms here. You had indicated that you were involved as a volunteer throughout town before this, correct?
Yes.
First, what else were you involved with?
So I teach religious studies, like a
Okay.
Sunday school teacher, basically. I am a Cub Scout den leader I've
Okay.
started with my son in kindergarten, and now we're all the way to Weeblos 1. So I've been a den leader for a long time. I also am a member of the Haworth Municipal Library Board. So it's kind
Okay.
of cool. I've been a board member on the library board in Haworth. I know the role of a board member, the expectations of board members. And I also volunteer for scholarship committees. I like to read, I like to volunteer to read the scholarships of high school seniors who are trying to get something, a little bit of something for college. So I read the essays and I rank them, and I love seeing what they have to say and hearing their stories. It's a really nice thing to volunteer to do.
Okay. Okay. So, what was your proudest moment as a volunteer in either Norwood or Haworth thus far?
um, oh boy. I don't know. In a way, I think maybe it's the surviving the Cub Scout stuff. It's a lot of little boys that have a lot of energy and know they're not in school, and it's a very different thing than going to school and teaching kids where they're expecting, the standard stuff. The boys let loose and have fun, and I kind of almost feel a little bit like a gym teacher when I'm there, because it's like I would never have chosen to be a gym teacher, but they are running all over the place and they're having a blast and it's great. But it took a little adjusting.
Okay, okay. All right, flip side, is there a least proud moment of your volunteering time
um,
you recall?
uh, well, I remember my first Haworth Library Board meeting. Um,
Mhm.
it was the first time I went to one, and it was an interesting meeting. It was quite contentious, and I've got to say it was the only one that was very contentious, but it was my first one, and I was a little horrified, and I was like, what did I get myself into here? Like, what is this? There was a lot of fighting, and actually, that same week, the director resigned. That's how crazy that meeting was.
Oh,
So
wow.
it wasn't. I was kind of afraid for continuing with that, but then it turned out great, and I love being on the board now, and everything, calmed down just after that one meeting, so it's fine.
Okay, okay. Um, is there any issues that you've seen before the board that I haven't expressly mentioned that you think are worth noting?
um, Well, I don't think I got into what I actually teach. Did I?
Oh, okay.
I don't know that I did. So I'm a
K through eight.
kindergarten.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a kindergarten through eighth grade teacher, and I'm the school library media specialist for the school. I also teach gifted and talented and enrichment classes for the kindergarten to third graders. But I think it's of note that I've been a K through 8 teacher because I understand how schools work internally, and I also understand the needs of different students in different grades. You don't approach the kindergartners the same way you approach the eighth graders with the way you deal with them, and their needs are very different. So I think that's an asset as a potential board member to kind of understand the span of the school.
Okay.
And yeah.
I see you call it gifted and talented, which is what they call it in my high school. I think they call it tag here for some reason.
Yes.
Whatever you call it, I was thrown out of it in fifth grade for arguing with the teacher. But hopefully you'd be a little more understanding if I had had you at the time. But Dr. Engel was not. All right. We still have a few minutes here, so let me throw you one or two other ones before I invite you to
Sure.
close. Mario's or cousins?
Oh, let me think. Mario's or cousins. I mean, the last time I bought pizza, it was from Mario's. I don't know if it's because it was closer or not, though. I really can't say. But the last time I got pizza, it was from Mario's.
Okay, okay. Let's see here. All right. You've kind of touched on this already, but is there anything else that you'd want to say to the town, taxpayers, anybody else in closing that maybe I didn't expressly cover?
Oh, well, I mean, we can talk about taxes.
Okay.
Taxes are a big concern for everyone. No one wants to see the taxes go up, but at the same time, we want to maintain an incredible school for our kids. And even if you don't have kids in the school, the school is definitely tied to property values. So I think it's important to weigh common sense spending against what's best for the kids. And if we really think hard on what we can do for the kids and spend our money wisely, we can be fiscally responsible, but at the same time, give the kids what they need and hopefully everything they need to succeed.
Okay, excellent. Oh, yeah. Yikes. Okay. Uh, I thank you again for joining us today, and wish you luck in this always lovely Norwood election cycle. And
You.
and and thank you all for listening. This is again, I am Norwood, and stay tuned for the next edition.